in chapter 4, and the chapter title is Appearance of Lord Narad. And we are going to read verse 17 and 18. Both of those verses are together. भौतिकानां च भावानां शक्तिहर्षं च तत्कृतं श्रद्धाधानं निहस्तवन् दुर्मेधन् हर्षितायुषः दुर्भागं स जनन् वीक्ष्य मुनिर्दिवेन चक्षुषा सर्ववर्णाश्रमाणां यद् दद्युहितम् अमोघदृक् भौतिकानां च भावानां शक्तिहर्षं च तत्कृतं श्रद्धाधानं निहस्यत्वन् दुर्मेधं हर्षितायुषः दुर्भागं स जनन् वीक्ष्य मुनिर्दिवेन चक्षुषा सर्ववर्णाश्रमाणां यद् दद्युहितम् अमोघदृक् भौतिकानां च भावानां शक्तिहर्षं च तत्कृतं श्रद्धाधाननिहस्यत्वान् दुर्मेधं हर्षितायुषः दुर्भागं स जनन् वीक्ष्य मुनिर्दिवेन चक्षुषा सर्ववर्णाश्रमणं यद् दद्युहितम् अमोघदृक्. So, just to save the time, I think I will pass the word by word since it's already 7:15. Let's go to the translation. So, translation of this verse is the great sage who was fully equipped in the knowledge, Amoghdrik, could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of the age. He could also see that the faithless people in general would be reduced in duration of life and would be impatient due to lack of goodness. Thus, he contemplated for the welfare of man in all statuses and order of life. Translation once again. The great sage who was fully equipped in knowledge could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of the age. Bhautika cha bhavanam. Everything bhautik, everything material is going to deteriorate due to the influence of the age. He could also see that the Muni Divena Chakshusha, that by Diva Chakshu, all of these Muni, all these saintly personality, they could see by their Diva Chakshu. He could see, he could also see that the faithless people in general would be reduced in duration of life and would be impatient due to lack of goodness. Thus he contemplated for the welfare of man in all statuses and orders of life. His Divine Grace Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll get into the purport. So somebody would like to read the purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, can you
The
please read?
unmanifested forces of time are so powerful that they reduce all matter to oblivion in due course. In Kali Yuga, the last millennium of a round of 4 millenniums, the power of all material objects deteriorates by the influence of time. In this age, the duration of the material body of the people in general is much reduced, and so is the memory. The action of matter has also not so much incentive. The land does not produce food grains in the same proportions as it did in other ages. The cow does not give as much milk as it used to give formerly. The production of vegetables and fruits is less than before. As such, all living beings, both men and animals, do not have sumptuous, nourishing food. Due to want of so many necessities of life, naturally the duration of life is reduced. The memory is short. Intelligence is meager. Mutual dealings are full of hypocrisy and so on. The great sage Vyasadeva could see this by his transcendental vision. As an astrologer can see the future fate of a man, or an astronomer can foretell the solar and lunar eclipses, those liberated souls who can see through the scriptures can foretell the future of all mankind. They can see this due to their sharp vision of spiritual attainment. And all such transcendentalists who are naturally devotees of the Lord are always eager to render welfare service to the people in general. They are the real friends of the people in general, not the so called public leaders who are unable to see what is going to happen 5 minutes ahead. In this age, the people in general, as well as their so called leaders, are all unlucky fellows, faithless in spiritual knowledge and influenced by the age of Kali. They are always disturbed by various diseases. For example, in the present age, there are so many TB patients and TB hospitals. But formerly, this was not so because the time was not so unfavorable. The unfortunate men of this age are always reluctant to give a reception to the transcendentalists who are representatives of Srila Vyasadeva, and selfless workers always busy in planning something which may help everyone in all statuses and orders of life. The greatest philanthropists are those transcendentalists who represent the mission of Vyasa, Narada, Madhva, Chaitanya, Rupa, Saraswati, etc. They are all one and the same. The personalities may be different, but the aim of the mission is one and the same, namely to deliver the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah, thank you so much for reading. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is a very strong purport, and this two verse is very much talking about the symptoms of Kali Yuga, how the people in Kali Yuga is going to be. So first part of the or the first paragraph talks about all the symptoms, bad symptoms that Kali Yuga has, and then second paragraph talks about foretelling, foresightness of the acharyas, divya chakshu. They can see far that how this age is going to be, and then uh, they try to serve the mankind, try to do something for the mankind. And very important point that's being made here in the purport, that all the transcendentalists who represents the mission of Lord or Vyasdev or Narada Muni or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or other six Goswami, they are all one and the same. So that's a very important point. That help us understand that how uh, whoever is carrying the mission of Lord, they are basically carrying the same oneness in that context, because they are trying to help the suffering mankind, and that basically tells us that anyone who is part of this mission have a great responsibility, because he's carrying the mood of our acharyas. Uh, I don't want to get into the story, but there are some descriptions given by our other acharyas that they are saying, they are talking to Krishna and they are saying that, my dear Lord, I know you are the greatest, but we are your representative. So how people perceive you is based on how we present you. A little bit dicey subject, but the point here is that each and every person who is so-called Krishna conscious person or trying to be a Krishna conscious devotee has to live a life of very high moral values, because they are not only representing themselves, but they are representing all of these great acharyas. So what we'll try to do is that we'll try to stay in context with what we just gone through this purport and see some more reference, some more example to understand these points, more clearly. So in this chapter, how this chapter flow, you can segment in 4 sections the entire chapter. The first 6 verses are talking about these are the sages. Here is another beautiful example. Why sages are asking these questions to Sutta Goswami? Because they are concerned. They can foretell, they can see that the Kali Yuga is coming, and we have to present this thing in a very factual way, in a very easy way for the people to follow. So these sages are asking Sutta Goswami that how this Bhagavatam at first place came in existence, and how Sukadeva Goswami, who is Atma Ramasya Munya Nirgrantha Apirukame Kurvanti Hitu Bhakti Etam Gun Gunohari, the one who is Atma Ram, why he has to be the narrator. What circumstances came into the place where he ended up becoming the narrator. And in the second section, from verse number 7 to 13, talks about Parikshit Maharaj. So who Parikshit Maharaj is, and his birth, and how renounced he was, how he gotten into the curse and all of that. But that will be later, basically elaborated in rest of the first canto, and then birth of the Vyasdev. So Sukadeva Goswami is a son of Vyasdev, Matsya, Gandha, and Prasar Muni. So how Sukadeva Goswami? For sure, if we are going to talk about Sukadeva Goswami, then we have to talk about Vyasdev. And then Vyasdev activity. He compiled, you know, all the smritis, all the Puranas that we are reading, either Itihasa, Purana, and everything. Plus, he also compiled Shruti, Vedas, some part of the Vedas, and some part of Upanishad, not all the Upanishads, some part of the Upanishad. Anga Upanga, in Veda there are two uh, divisions. So he basically did all of that work. Why he did all of that work? Because he knew that the time is coming, and people would need this, information. Bhagavatam is none different than Krishna. So when Krishna left this planet, he left us with Bhagavatam. And that point can go very deep also. Depends how you are hearing it. So saying that Lord presence is not here, that's not true. That's not true. Alaksham, he is everywhere. Namaste Pursatpadiyam, Ishware Prakrite Param, Alaksham Sarvabhutanam, Antar Bahar Avastitam. Lord has never left this place. In one form or in other form, he is present. So he is present in today's society in the form of Bhagavatam, Grantha Avatar, and he left us with Bhagavatam. So we can go and take the instructions from Bhagavatam as Arjun took the instruction from Krishna. So after doing all of this, literature work, literal work, compilation of everything, he is now despondent. He is now not very satisfied, not very happy. And then Narad Muni comes. So Narad Muni very much comes at the last part of this chapter, and then following two chapter we'll talk the discussion that Narad Muni has with Vyasdev. So we are in the third segment where we just finished appearance of Vyasdev, and then we are talking about his activities, that he as a Vyasdev being the Jnana Shakti, the Jnana avatar of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was manifestation of the Jnana potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He could see with Divya Chakshu that this dark dance is coming, people like us are coming, and he started compiling all the literature. So there are some symptoms of Kali Yuga given, and in first chapter, first canto, verse number 10, there is a beautiful verse that says that Praya Alp Praya Alpayu Sahasamya Kalvig Asmin Juge Janah Mand Sumand Matayo Mand Bhaga Upadrato. So the symptoms of the people of Kali Yuga is mentioned. And in that particular verse, Srila Prabhupada very nicely give us that what is the quality of human being in this Kali Yuga. So we are going to take the reference of that purport. Since we just read the purport of this verse, let's see what Srila Prabhupada is saying in that verse. So he is saying in the purport that people will have alp ayu, short lives, and they will be always, of quarrelsome mentality, always a fighting type of mentality, and mandaha, they will be by nature lazy, and sumand matayo, misguided, misfortune, and upadrata, always disturbed. So these are the six uh, qualities of the Kali Yuga people in reference to the verse is given there. And then also it's mentioned that not only people will be disturbed internally with their manda sumanda matayo manda bhaga upadrato, not only internal disturbance, but the surrounding outside is also going to be very disturbing, such as cinema and sports and clubs and mundane books and bad association and drinking and cheating, all of that. So internally, you know, the living beings are going to be disturbed, and externally also there will be disturbances. So both antar bahar, both inside and outside, there is disturbance only. And in that disturbance, how a person can take the shelter of Krishna. There will be fake religions. There will be people who will be just faking on the name of a religion, and then this Varnashram system will be broken. Varnashram system will no longer prolong. Varnashram system will become the means of exploitation. Why? Because Vipratave Sutram Evahi. Brahmana will show their Brahmanship not because they are learned in the Shastra, not because they are Bhagavad Vidah, the one who knows the Tattva of Bhagwan. Rather, due to their false ego, they will be showcasing their Brahman, being a Brahman, Vipra, just by showing their thread. Lavanyam Kesadharanam. People will feel that they are more handsome if they have a bigger hair. Women will feel more beautiful if they have a bigger hair. Dampatya ratim evahi. And the marriage will simply be agreement based on sensual desire. There, and it's happening in Europe, at least right now. If you see in a very dominant way, it's happening. They don't like marrying because it's a responsibility. They know that they are going to divorce anyways. After 6 months or 1 year, they are going to divorce. So why don't just have some common consent, have just some good agreement, and and live together. So dampatya ratim evahi. This is one of the sanskara. This is one of the sanskara when brahmachari is getting into grihastha ashram. They get through this marriage sanskara, bevah sanskara. But marriage will become just agreement. And swartham udaram bharitaha, for our own benefit, just to fool the belly, people will do all kinds of heinous activity. So all of these, if you put together, that's what is happening right now in the society, and we are part of it. There are many more. So we are part of this society, and that's why the sages of Naimisharanya, they can see, and they are very anxious to see the future of the Kali Yuga, how people are going to live. But it's not only that there is only uh, all the misfortune. There are some fortune also, some good fortune. Kalir dosa nidhe rajan asti yoku mahagunam. There is this Kali is dosha nidhi, no doubt about it. But there are some mahaguna, not only guna, mahaguna. What is that mahaguna? Kirtanayad Krishnasya, by chanting the holy name of Krishna, all the suffering will be uh, taken away. So I am going to cite a very beautiful verse from Adi Lila, 7th chapter. And this verse says, Agati ekah gatim natva hinarth adhika sadhakam Sri Chaitanya likhyate asya prema bhakti badanyata. badanyata. So agati eka gatim natva. If we look at all of that misfortune that's happening into the society, agati, a person who has no gati. Gati means, gati means the one who has no goal. So, going to the heavenly planet, going to Golok Vrindavan, merging into the Brahman Jyoti, going to the hellish planet. If someone is acting to get one of this goal, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, all of this, fourth purusartha, still they have the goal. But the people who are even fallen than that, agati eka gatim natva, natva, a person who has no destination is completely ruined, completely fallen. Hinarth adhika sadhakam. Hinartha, hina means fallen. Adhikam, even fallen than the fallen. Such type of people, for them, Mahaprabhu appeared in this age of Kali. Sri Chaitanya likhayate asya. For what? Prema bhakti badanyata. So to give prema bhakti to whom? Who is agati, a person who has no quality, a person who has no vision, where to go, what hodgepodge, everything is all over the place, right? A person who has no destination. To that person, Mahaprabhu appeared to give prema bhakti, the highest, most destination. Raghunath Das Goswami in Manasiksha verse number 7 says that uh, don't engage into this asadvarta. Asadvarta is like beshya. When we are talking mundane thing, we are very much associating with prostitute. And don't spend your time understanding the philosophy of Mayavad. Why? Because it's like you are thrown into a cage where you have very hungry tigers. So don't talk asadvarta. Don't engage your mind in understanding the Mayavad philosophy. And oh dear devotee, don't even spend your time worshipping this Lakshmipati Narayan. then what you do? You worship Srimati Radharani and Krishna, because they only not give you some destination, but they give you themselves to you. The love that Radharani has for Krishna, that love will be awarded to the follower, to the worshipper of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. So this Prema Bhakti is very, very deep concept, very, very deep, goal, or very, very high goal for a person who has no destination, a person who does not deserve any destination. Hari Hari Bifale Janma Gavainu. Narottam Das Thakur has written a beautiful song. And in that song, he says, Brajendra Nandana Jai Sachi Suta Hoilo Sei Balarama Hoilo Nitai দিনহীনা যাতা ছিল হরি নাম উধারিল তার সাক্ষী জাগাই madhai. So this Mahaprabhu is none different than Brajanandan, and Nityananda Prabhu is none different than Lord Balaram. Why they have come? Dinahina jate chilo. Whoever is Dina and Hina, we just saw another Hina, Arth Adhika Sadhakam, completely fallen. An example is given here, Jagai and Madhai. Who could be more fallen than Jagai and Madhai? And Mahaprabhu came to give them the Prema Bhakti. So these are the fortune. These are the bright side. We saw the dark side of Kali Yuga, but these are the bright side that that one is exposed to Prema Bhakti, which is the highest, most goal. What are some other advantage of Kali Yuga? In chapter 18, in the purport of verse number 7, there are some of these mentioned there. One does not become victim of a sinful act until the act is performed. So in Kali Yuga, if you are just thinking about something, you do not become sinful for that act. But in other Yuga, that was not the case. One is awarded the results of all the pious acts simply by thinking of them. Wow. One can attain salvation simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. By the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Lord become arrested within one's heart. By discourse on Lord Krishna's activity, one can get rid of all the disadvantages of the age of Kali. So we saw the dark side, we are seeing the bright side. That there is no mental sin. Just by, on the other hand, just by thinking about good thing, we get the benefit of doing that thing. And holy name is the real real instrument, real tool, real arrow of salvation from this suffering. Association of devotee and studying Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing about Srimad Bhagavatam, one will basically conquer all the darkness or dark side of the Kali Yuga that we are seeing. And then, perfect example is Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit, he was not discouraged even if he was cursed. It's very transient. It's very transient, example. Okay, I'm exposed to all of these things, but right now I'm not going through the suffering. I'm overall okay, right? Parikshit Maharaj is a perfect example. He was cursed by a unmatured person to die in 7 days, knowing that my death is coming in 7 days. Still, he was not distracted. He focused. So, Parikshit Maharaj is a perfect example, and our acharyas are helping us to understand that part. Our acharyas are helping us to understand that that be adhered, be focused, and take the process of bhakti. But how to do bhakti? Do bhakti under the guidance. Bhakti is the solution, but how to do it? Do under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. In the light of Bhagavatam, in the purport of text number 33, Srila Prabhupada gives very beautiful examples of professional preacher versus transcendentalist. So the verse says that there are two types of rainfall, or there are two types of waterfall. One is rainfall, and the second one is waterfalls. So rainfall, and Prabhupada is taking these two examples, rainfall and waterfall, to give the distinction between professional preacher and transcendentalist. In the summary, in the purport, we saw that transcendentalist, they could see and they act for the benefit of the welfare. So that's why we had to bring this light to show that with the professional preacher may be talking the name of Krishna, and maybe you know talking the Bhagavad Katha, but in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that is like rainfall. So when rainy season comes, there is heavy rainfall, and rain falls everywhere. Patra kupatra na janiya, everywhere. One can handle, one cannot handle, and what happens is it just gets flooded. It just get flooded. So without knowing the capacity of how much the earth can handle, how much a river can handle, it just falls blindly, it just falls. But waterfall is not like that. Waterfall has a place. Waterfall has a rhythm. Water falls when there is water. If there is no water, it will dry. So transcendentalist, knowing the capacity, how much one can handle, he will share. Antar hath sahar de bahar mare chot. He will help that conditioned person based upon where he is, how much support that person need, and then slowly and slowly that person will grow. A professional preacher talks the subject for sense gratification. Although they are talking Bhagavatam Katha, but they still play on the sensual platform. Rather, a transcendentalist do not talk the subject that is of the sensual pleasure. Rather, they will talk what is for the benefit of the person who is hearing. This is very important also. Very, very important that when we are talking a serious subject, and if you talk in a funny way, then people, I don't know how much they get into the serious subject. So if the subject is serious, it has to be delivered seriously. If the fire is handled, if fire is carried away, there should be proper equipment to carry away the fire. Otherwise, it's not going to be carried away. So, and at whatever level we talk, that's on that level we touch the audience. If I am talking on the sensual level, I will touch the audience on their sensual level. If I am talking more on the intellectual level, I'll be touching the intellectuality of the audience. But if I am talking on the heart level, soul to soul connection, then if I'm putting my heart in it, then the people who are going to hear, they are receiving it on their heart. So transcendentalists, acharyas, they talk to their heart. They will talk what is needed for 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 their benefit. Whatever is appealing to the mundane senses, the professional preacher, you can go and read, the purport. All of that is coming from there. Whatever appealing to the mundane senses of the public, okay, a professional preacher will do like that. But acharyas, no. Sai pumsa paro dharma, yato bhakti yadho khaje. No, no. Sai pumsam paro dharma. They will try to engage Savai all the Pumsam, all the living being to their Param Dharma. And what is their Param Dharma? Param Dharma is devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I just like to, cite this particular, paragraph or particular, line that's coming from Sad Goswami Ashtakam. And it's very beautiful. Once, maybe at some point we can sing the entire song. It says, Nana Sastra Vicharanaika Nipunau Sadadharma Sanstapakau Lokanam Hitakarine Tribhuane Manyav Saranyakarau Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana आनन्देन मातालिकौ वन्दे रूपसनातन रघुजुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ Nana Shastra Vicharanaiki. Six Goswami came there in the purport. That's why I brought this. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipnau. Nipnau, expert. By meditating and contemplating on the essence of Nana Shastra, multiple, literature that's there. Sadadharma Sanstapna, helping the living being to establish in Sadadharma, in the Param Dharma, Lokanam Hitakarina Tribhuvane. They have appeared to this material world for what? Lokanam Hitakarina, for the welfare of the common being. And what is that welfare? By engaging them blissfully in the bhakti of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghu Jugau Sri Jiva Gopalakau. I pay my humble obeisances to the six Goswamis who are doing this, who has done this for mankind. So that's the essence. That's the essence. Nana Shastra Vicharanauk Nipnau. They are expert. Acharyas are expert in Shastra. And then they have taken the abstract of the Shastra and presented for what? Lokanam Hitakarino. For the hita of the Lokanam, for the welfare of the whole mankind. So the writing that's coming from Bhakti Bindu Thakur or Bhakti Sanda Goswami Maharaj or our acharyas, those writings are carrying the same mood and same mission. So in that sense, they are in oneness with the instructions that coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So bhakti has to be performed in the association or in the guidance of that personality, to in the association of that transcendentalist. We are Rupanuga, the one who is following the footstep of uh, uh, Rupa Goswami. So what I would like to do is that show you some verses also that will help you understand the flow that we saw in the purport. So bhakti is the supremost occupation. Very famous verse. Sai pum sampuro bhakti, adho bhakti, yato bhakti adho khaja, ahituga pratihata, yatma suprasiddhati. You know that. All of us know that this is a powerful verse that is talking about that for all the living being, Param Dharma is engaging in the bhakti. Anarthopasa nam sakchat bhakti yogam madho khaje lokas janati na vidwams chakre satvitam samhitam. So this is another beautiful verse. This is coming in chapter 7 of Bhagavatam, first canto. It says that anarthopasa nam sakchat bhakti yogam adho khaje lokas janato vidwams chakre satvata samhitam. So in the material world, we just read all the dark side of the all the misfortune part of the this age of Kali. So we are exposed to that. Like when you drown into the water, all you see is the water around you. It's very much drowning in all of those things that we just saw. We are drowned exactly in the same situation. But Lokasya janato vidwams, but the ordinary people do not know that. Anarthopasanam sakcha, they do not know that they are very much drowning in the anarthas, directly drowning into all of these anartha. And only process to come out of that is bhakti yoga madhokshaje, by engaging in the devotional service of the adhokshaje, which is beyond the sense perception, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Hari, Lokas Janato, but the ordinary people do not know that. Chakre Satvata Samhitam. That is why Vidwams Chakre Satvata Samhitam. Vidwams, the learned person, the transcendentalist, they compile, they give us the Shastra. Why? Because by reading those Shastra, one will engage in the Bhakti Yoga of Adhokshaje. And by doing that, what will happen? Yashya Maishwaryamananam Krishna Paramapurushe Bhakti Utpadate Pumsha Shoko Moho Bhayapaha. That's another beautiful verse. So Yashya Maishwaryamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe. Once we know that the Param is Bhagwan Sri Krishna, and when we engage Bhaktirutpadate Pumsha, Pumsha means the living being, all the living being. When the love of the seed of devotion has born in the living being, then what happens? Soko moho bhayapaha. All of this lamentation and fear and all the darkness that we are seeing in this age of Kali, that's going to be dispelled. Okay, so through these two verse, basically, uh, we can say, or we are seeing that how Vyasdev, how Vyasdev could see Divya Chakshu through his, divine eyes, he could see that the age is coming and people are going to be mansu manda matayo manda bhagu padratau. Then he gave Lokajanato Navidam Sakra Satvitam Samhitam. The mankind do not know that they need to take the shelter of Bhagavatam. That's why he compiled Bhagavatam. He gave this beautiful Bhagavatam to us. For what? Because Yasya Moisurya Mana Nam Krishna Param Purushe. Bhagavatam will establish the fact that Param Purusha is Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Bhakti Padate Pumsa. When the living being, when their heart will be awakened with the seed of bhakti, Soko Moho Bhayapaya. Whatever conditioning and suffering and vaya and fear that they are going through, that will be dispelled. So that's the beauty, of our acharyas, that they could see and they presented the fact. This is the last slide. I don't think that I will have enough time to get into all of the 6 items. I have the slides that I wanted to go through, but I cannot. But I'll just, try to emphasize the importance of pure devotional service. Okay, we have come to the stage where we have given the enough foundation with the facts that bhakti is the one that we need to take under the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master by following their instructions in the format of Bhagavatam or other literature. So when we are engaged in the bhakti, klesa agni subdha moksha lagut krita sudurlabha sandranand visheshatma Sri Krishna akarshani chasa. So klesa agni subdha moksha laguta krita sudurlabha Sandranand Visheshatma Sri Krishna Akarshani Chasa. So these are the 6 symptoms. We just saw all the things that we are exposed to in the age of Kali. What bhakti can do to us? Klesa Agni. We are going through this tapa, right? We are going through this guna. We are going through this janamritu jara badhi, right? These are all the klesas. Klesas. Patanjali says that there are 5 cause: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesa, and anivesa. All of that is acting, acting. But bhakti has that potency to completely burn everything to ashes like forest fire. Sansara dava nalida loka tarana karunya gana ganatum. We are caught into this forest fire, blazing forest fire, but by the mercy of a spiritual master who is showering like ghana ghanatum, dense rain. This burning, blazing fire will be satisfied. So bhakti will act like that. Shubha, it's all auspiciousness that 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 we need. It will come just by engaging in the bhakti. Muksh laguta krita. There are 5 types of liberation. All of you know that. But a devotee who's not going to engage in Sayuja or Sarsrishti or Samipya or Salokya, nothing. No, no. All these, all this liberation becomes lagu. Why? Because devotee has no personal interest, no personal interest. जन्मेश्वर्य सुताश्रीभिर अदमानम मदह पुमान नैवारहति अभिधातुम वै त्वयम akinchana gochara. Queen Kunti says that tvam akinchana gochara. Gochara means to follow. The one who is gochara means, the cowherd boy when they are following the cows. So my dear Lord, he follows to whom? Akinchana, who has no desire. So process of purification is to cut off the desire. Cut off the desire. It's not outside, it's inside. How much I am depending on Supreme Personality of Godhead. How much I have I have understood Sambandha, my relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How much everyday realization I am receiving to understand this world, the things that's around us, the people who are around us, the situation that is around us. All of that, if you are a serious sadhaka, Krishna will help. He will guide you. He will tell you, get up, Mangalarti time, do this, do. All of that, Chaitya Guru. Krishna as a Chaitya Guru guides. So this attracting moksha becomes laghu when one is fully engaged in devotional service. Ahitukya pratihata. And then sudurlabha. But at the same time, coming to that stage, bhunam janmanamante jnanvan mam parpadyante vasudevam sarvamiti samahatmana sadurlabha. Not easy. मनुष्यानां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद् व्यतीते सिद्धये यतन्त्यपि सिद्धानां कस्य व्यतीमा तत्त्वतः. All of that verses you can see, not easy. It's practice. It requires some degree of seriousness, some degree of commitment, some degree of loyalty, some degree of adherence, some degree of our own restrictions, boundary that we put around. It's not easy. Not everybody will, come to that stage. So we have to endeavor. Manda sumanda matayo manda bhagu padratau. We know that. We have to make a honest endeavor. Sandrananda Visheshatma. It gives all types of bliss. There are 3 types of bliss: Bhoganandi, Brahmanandi, and Premanandi. Right? Bhoganandi is the pleasure that we get out of the objects that we have in the material world. That's Bhoganandi. And Brahmanandi is the Ananda, bliss that we get by merging into the Brahman. Premanandi is the bliss that we get by engaging in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Sandranandi Visheshatma, a person who is engaged in Supreme Personality in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that person will taste the bliss of Premananda, being in love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And last but not least, Sri Krishna Akarshani, the pure devotional service attracts Lord Himself. I had some verses from different places to make these points a little bit more clear, give you some examples, but I think we are running a little late. I had to a little bit rush. But the point here is that all of these six uh, qualities of pure devotion, they appear in different stages of the bhakti. So Klesa, Agni and Subda, those will appear in Bhadi Bhakti. Moksha Lahu Krita and Sudurlabha, that will appear in Bhava Bhakti. And Sandranand Visheshatma, Sri Krishna Akarshani, that Prema Bhakti. Okay, so as we advance in our process of bhakti, slowly and slowly, these symptoms, these unique characters of the pure devotion will start revealing and start, manifesting in our personality. So just to summarize in 2 minutes, what we did is that we saw the symptom of Kali Yuga. We saw some Shastric reference from Bhagavatam where it's mentioned about how bad, how dark this age of Kali is. And then we saw the bright side of it. And then we also saw that our acharyas were able to see it, that it's coming. And knowing that, the living beings are going to be Sumanda, he or she or all the acharyas, they compiled, they gave us the Bhagavatam and they gave us, all the Shastra. They leave us with the Shastra so that whenever we need some guidance, we can go and refer, open the book of, uh, Bhagavad Gita and see what's there Krishna is saying for a specific situation. So practice bhakti under the guidance of a bona fide parampara. Strong, not a sahajiya way, but in a bona fide disciplic succession. Because if we are part of the disciplic succession, Prabhupada is saying in the purport that the same mood and mission is being carried and engaged in the process of bhakti. Because bhakti is the highest most dharma, param dharma. And when we are engaged in the bhakti, then all that bad symptoms, bad quality of Kali Yuga that we saw is going to be dispelled. And we saw these 6 points here, which is helping us understand that we should not worry too much about the darkness of this Kali Yuga. Rather focus, try to make a strong endeavor to follow Srila Rupa Goswami and the teaching that's given by our acharyas. Okay, so before we adjourn, I sang this song and I would like to read the translation. Okay, and then we'll see if there is any time at least. So let's read the translation of this song. It will tell you more or less, very important point that what I was going through. So can we read one by one, please? You can just unmute yourself and read it.
Yes,
My
Prabhuji.
Lord,
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
thank you. Hare Krishna. My Lord, I submit the following prayer at your holy feet. I do not pray to you for physical leisure, for learning, wealth, or followers. Hare Krishna.
I do not pray for heaven or salvation. I do not pray for any of these opulence. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please read.
In whatever birth I take, wherever my karma leads me, let me sing the glories of your holy name, birth after birth.
Okay.
I'll go next. Hare Krishna. This alone is my cherished hope, my aspiration, my prayer at your lotus feet. Let causeless and uninterrupted devotion awaken within my heart and flow towards you. Thank you.
Okay. Other
Hare
devotee,
Krishna.
please.
Hare Krishna. Let me love your lotus feet as much as I now love sense gratification. Transfer my affection from the objects of the senses to your lotus feet.
In danger or success, good fortune or disaster, let me remain in equipoise and let my affection for you increase day by day by the influence of the holy name.
Whether I live as bird or beast, in heaven or in hell, Let the humble Bhakti Vinoda always cherish Bhakti in his heart of hearts.
Yes, Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. বিষয়ে যে প্রীতি এবে আছে আমার সেই মাতা প্রীতি হও চরণে তোমার বিষয়ে যে প্রীতি এবে আছে যে আমার my dear Lord, whatever attachment I have for this Visaya, may I request you to give me same degree, same mata priti hava charane tumar. How can I have attachment, same degree of attachment with your lotus feet? Beautiful, beautiful song. Prabhu Tava Pada Juge, Mora Nivedana. Very beautiful song. We can sing this more and release the meaning and depth of this particular version. So with that, I would like to give a pause. If you